everybody, and welcome to your very first round of month ahead forecasts on my channel. I'm so excited to start something new. I'm at a new place. This is like a new filming studio, if you will, and I can't wait to kind of change up my offerings a little bit. And before we begin, I do want to tell you a little bit about that. First and foremost, my name is Yelena Crawford, so welcome back to anyone and everyone that was a previous subscriber. Thank you guys so much. And for anybody that hasn't met me yet, welcome. I'm very happy to have you here. And this is kind of what my channel is going to look like moving forward. So if you were not a previous subscriber, you don't need to worry about what it used to be, but I kind of have a little bit of a new content strategy. So I'm going to be getting rid of my weekly forecast completely, and I'm going to start the month couple days prior to each new month. I'm going to push out forecast videos, which are month ahead forecasts, which is what this is, for all 12 zodiac signs. So you guys can know ahead of time exactly what's happening. And if you weren't already aware, I do offer a written monthly forecast as well. And it's general. It's not by zodiac sign. It's basically all about the collective and the energies that are happening in the month ahead, which can really help you to have that written paper, right? So if you are interested in signing up for my free written cosmic guide, is what I call it, you can go to my website, yelenacrawford.com, and a little pop-up box will come up on the screen where you can enter your email address. But I promise not to spam. I don't really send a whole lot. I maybe inform you guys of new videos or any new offerings I might have or whatever, but that's pretty much it. And then on top of these monthly forecasts, what I plan to do is obviously full and new moon videos, you know, and horoscopes for those as they come along. But also I want to start breaking down significant transits throughout the month. So as the energies are kind of coming in and passing, I want to really dive in and hone in and talk about those as they come along, so we can kind of follow the transits together. So I want to make this really interactive. I may end up doing a lot of lives for some of these things too, but I will definitely make sure to let you guys know ahead of time. And then another one of my offerings is on Instagram, and I've been really kind of amping that up, and I've been doing daily astrology updates. So if you guys really want to follow the astrology on a daily basis as you learn and as it helps you with your own life, then I would highly suggest adding me over at Yelena Crawford Astrology on Instagram as well. I'm going to have stories and daily posts so you guys can keep up to date with the astrology in many different ways. Also, this is a general forecast, and I want to make that very clear that yes, I'm breaking this down by your rising sign. So that kind of sets up the chart, and I'm able to kind of see some of the in and out energies and the different themes that might be brought into focus for you over the next month. But your individual birth chart is what gets activated by these transiting energies. And our birth charts are all completely different. So while this might be hitting somebody and really bringing out positive potential with some of these transits, it could also be really exacerbating a negative portion of someone else's chart. So just keep that in mind. And if you are someone who is maybe navigating big changes and you want to make more sense of it, then contact me for a personal reading. I would highly suggest getting a reading with me or whatever astrologer you deeply resonate with. You can also do that through my website, yelenacrawford.com. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all the announcements for right now. So let's get into the forecast. Hi Pisces, and welcome to your April 2022 month ahead horoscope. I am really excited to dive into some of this information for you. So just to give you a little insight, we do have a very interesting month. It's like everything is just really moving forward, whether we really like it or want it or need it, you know what I mean? Well, obviously I wouldn't say need it, because this is a lot of very fated energy, because the nodes are involved a lot here. And the nodes push us more towards our karmic destiny in this life. And I know that sounds really cliche, but it's very true. And when the nodes are significantly involved, like we have eclipse season that starts late April. So we know that whatever happens this month is going to definitely be a development that is very meant to be on our path, okay? Something that's definitely meant to be. So keep an eye out for all of that. Now, another thing too is we start the energy off like really fast too, because it's Aries season, and Aries season is very initiatory. It's all about the pivot of a season. So it's a pivot in our lives, bringing in change, bringing in our desire for change, where we might actually be initiating that in general. So that'll be something to definitely take into consideration too. Now we start off the month on April 1st with a new moon in the sign of Aries, which is in your second house of money, finances, resources, the things that you value, and your own personal self-worth. This is an energy of starting on a new path of healing or working through some insecurities on your ability to actually bring in your own income and resources, to be independent, to be self-starter in some way. This could also be relative to matters pertaining to impulsive spending, potentially, because obviously with Aries being on the second house, we can tend to burn through money very quickly. It is that Mars energy of spend, 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 spend. Maybe the money's coming in quickly, but going out just as fast. So Chiron has been working with you in this area of the chart, which could have brought up since 2018 some insecurities relative to the topic of money and your ability to build wealth on your own as an entrepreneur, as an individual, and kind of paving your own path in that right and in that sense. So this topic could be beginning a brand new cycle. There could be a fresh start or something new emerging of a new financial venture or an opportunity to make new money, or maybe you get a raise or something like that. There could be word or information coming in at this time, or maybe you're making some type of new plan to execute something that could bring you more money in the future. So Mercury is the planet of messages and information and communication. So that's why I say that there could be some type of message distributed or communication received at this time, or you could be spreading a message about what it is that you're going to be doing financially. Now, Mercury also rules over your seventh house of partnership. So this could very well have something to do with a purchase that maybe you're making for a partner or with a business partner of some sort. Maybe there's a merger going on here for some of you. Maybe for some of you, you're literally thinking about purchasing a home because Mercury also rules your fourth house of home and family. So we'll see how that plays out, but this is definitely going to be an interesting full moon. Be careful with your spending. Make sure you're not doing it like you've done in the past and spending a little bit too quickly or impulsively without actually taking the time to think it over. So then, we want to also consider where Mars is, because this full moon is ruled by Mars. And Mars is in the 12th house, and it is kind of coming into a more challenging dynamic as Mars, the gas pedal, is going to be hitting Saturn, which is the brake, slowing us down a bit. This is going to be a time of contemplation, of rest and retreat. You want to make sure that you are allowing time to slow down, that you are taking time to think things over. Read below the dotted line. If you need to think about things behind the scenes for a little bit or discuss it with people, it'll be best to do that, right? If there is some type of partnership or financial venture that you're involved with here, just make sure that the people that you're involved with in this are they have your best interest at heart, that they're not that they're trustworthy, that they're not people that it's going to create misfortune for you down the road. Because this is the house of secret enemies and people that somehow steer us off course, or our own behaviors, habits, and tendencies that steer ourselves off course. So this could be having to do maybe somehow with this impulsive spending or making purchases without really thinking about it too much, which somehow could affect your partnership, maybe piss off your marriage partner. These are just different ways that I see it. And obviously it will play out very differently for everybody. But obviously, when Mars and Saturn are in the 12th house, it can potentially be a little bit more of a challenging energy. Mars is anger, aggression, and our relationship to those types of things, our relationship to control structures in our lives, is Saturn. Saturn is also very limiting and restricting energy. Maybe some of you are literally recovering from something behind the scenes, an injury or something like that. Some of you may actually be going through some sort of spiritual shift. It could be an existential crisis that's spiritual in nature of some sort, because this energy is like a void in the 12th house. It has a lot to do with spirituality and the things that lie beyond this realm of existence, and our beliefs. related to those things. So it could be with the South Node transiting your house of personal perspective, spiritual beliefs, and the way that you see the world and your religious views and everything. You could very well be going through some huge shift right now that's very confusing. You don't know where you're moving forward or what to believe or what to think, or somehow it could be conflicting with your previous belief systems of some sort. And it could just be a little agitating, right? So I would just say take some time to rest, contemplate, journal, do things behind the scenes, and allow time for that, especially during the beginning of the month. You could feel stuck or lost, and just know that that's okay. That is exactly what the transiting energies are kind of saying for you right now. This could also bring up some challenging dynamic maybe with friends, or be a huge slowdown that prevents you from reaching a goal or long-term plan that you had of some sort. So just know that this is passing energy. It's not going to last very long. It's not like it's going to be affecting us throughout the rest of the month. But what is happening is that it is going to shift and change something. This is like a turning point of some sort that's going to maybe shift you into a brand new mindset, releasing old belief systems or ways of seeing things or perspectives that were maybe holding you back in some way, and moving more in a direction where your mind is in a healthier state of being. I could see being a way that this could play out as well. Your own behaviors at this time could be creating a lot of stress or agitation for you, and could be preventing you from expanding or growing in the ways in which your soul would really want you to. So watch out for self-sabotaging behaviors during this time as well. You could also see, just to add one more thing, maybe issues with the topic of anger or boundaries and aggression of some sort. So see how you can positively work through those, and just know rest is highly valued during this time. As we move out of that feeling stuck, aggravating kind of energy, we will move into some mitigating influences, which means that it's energy that's a little bit more positive, or a lot more positive, especially for you. And I'll explain why in a minute. So this is even amongst the stress. This month is a mixed bag of energy. We've got like so much amazing, positive, like mystical, spiritual, miracle kind of energy that's coming in that is definitely going to temper some of these stressors that we're dealing with. What this energy I'm speaking of is very Jupiterian, Venusian, Neptunian, all in the sign of Pisces, which is your first house. It's you, it's your personality. It's the way people see you when they meet you. It's the way people perceive you. And it's also the way that you perceive the world, which is all changing. Okay, so this could be a really beautiful time when you're emerging from maybe a dark night of the soul kind of experience, or feeling like you're in a void, feeling really frustrated and battling a lot of your inner depths and subconscious tendencies. And this energy is going to feel like you're emerging out of something as a butterfly, because let's face it, you've had Saturn in the 12th house, which in traditional astrology, Saturn does like to be in the 12th house. It's the Saturn's associated with the Hermit, which is a very 12th house energy. So even if this is not existential crisis energy, you could have just been feeling total hermit mode, right? Letting go of friends that no longer serve you, working through some old belief systems and some old things that no longer serve you. Maybe you've been studying something behind the scenes or something like that. And now it's the time to emerge, right? It's a time to apply and embody and transform. So this is really nice energy. On April 5th, Venus enters the sign of Pisces, which it loves to be in. It is called exalted here, which it is celebrated. Venus is a sign associated with our connections with other people. You could just have an air of personal magnetism during this time. You could feel more confident. You could literally feel more attractive, or even look more attractive, and start to feel more self-worth, like you value yourself a little bit more. You could be feeling like you're in alignment with your personal values and morals after a big, maybe crisis situation that you've been moving through, or maybe really working through some difficult situations in your life. So basically, this is a brand new you emerging. So I like this energy a lot. Then as we progress, April 12th, we have the much anticipated Jupiter-Neptune conjunction at 23 degrees in the sign of Pisces. So for you guys, this is exactly in your first house affecting you. This is like spiritual expansion, spiritual awakening, the veils literally dissolving and expanding your mind and the way that you see things. You could literally be stepping into a teacher role for some of you, being a spiritual teacher of some sort. Maybe you are learning from a spiritual teacher, you're connecting. Maybe some of you are going to be traveling, which is like a pilgrimage or a spiritual journey or a voyage of some sort. Or you could literally just be living like a hero's journey right now because of everything that you've been through. This is a huge time for Pisces to kind of really dive into the creative version of who they are, which with Pisces energy, I'm sure you guys relate to this. Pisces are unbelievably creative, but the only thing that holds them back is their own freaking belief in themselves. Sometimes they don't even believe that they're good enough or that they can do what it is they hold within them. And they're unbelievable at what they hold within them. Creativity on high, unbelievably imaginative. They have minds that don't work like other people's. Like, it's just amazing, some of the people I've known that were Pisces, and they don't even see their own gifts. So this could be a renewal of that, where you're starting this brand new 12-year cycle of Jupiter, Neptune, where that new you is going to be emerging. So with Jupiter ruling your 10th house of career, this could literally be stepping into a brand new career of some sort, okay? Jupiter, obviously, and Pisces has an affiliation with teaching, spirituality, healing, therapy, energy work. It very well with Neptune, pharmacy, doctors, hospitals, artists, videographers, photography, literally glamour, actresses, acting, like musicians. Like there's so many possibilities for this, but this could literally be unfolding something where you're moving and embarking upon a brand new journey. This energy is also, it's exactly activating the North Node, which is in the 3rd house. So if you are a merchant selling like beautiful creations, art, whatever it is that you do, or if you spread a message, you're a poet, you're a singer, you're on a platform of some sort, you're part of a group. This is very amazing energy for you, and it is very supportive if you're willing to work with it. This could make you much more optimistic. It could bring in a lot of luck. You could just be having these situations where you're like, I don't even know how the hell that just happened, but it did. And I'm just gonna bask in it. But one thing I want to make you aware of with this energy, all energies have a spectrum, right? With Jupiter, Neptune, it can make you so otherworldly and just not very grounded in reality. You might have big rose-colored glasses on where you're not completely seeing everything on a realistic level. So just know that. Be very careful and cautious still, because you could be like living in a fantasy land, living in a dream, and you don't want that reality to somehow shatter later on down the road. So try to be realistic with what it is that you're pursuing and moving towards. Ultimately, for you, I think it's a really, really beautiful energy. Then, you guys, we've got April 16th, one more kind of very intense energy that we're going to be navigating in the middle of the month. This is the full moon happening in the sign of Libra, which is going to be creating a square to Pluto. Pluto, the planet of transformation, inner intensity, magnetism, focused ambition. It's a destroyer, right? But it destroys in order to regenerate and bring you closer to your personal truth. What is in alignment with who you really are at a soul level. So I know that's pretty intense, just the way I described that in general, but for you, it's literally playing out that way, because this full moon is highlighting your 8th house, and the 8th house has a lot to do with our fears, our obsessions, our compulsions, our addictive tendencies. So it's almost as if there's something that's culminating, or you're completing it, or you are needing to maybe acknowledge it and make another adjustment in this area, because it stems from the new moon that happened in October of 2021. So think back to that time period and what was going on during that time, and how something could be coming to light from that, or completing, or maybe needs to be let go relative to those different topics. This is also a money house, joint finances. So maybe There's a joint financial venture that's closing out. Maybe you had some type of business dealing or joint financial thing with a friend of some sort or some type of group that you were involved with. And now there's a lot of power struggles and intensity that's coming from the friendship. And there's a lot of, uncomfortable energy that needs to be moved through here. So just keep an eye out. I'm not really necessarily sure how exactly that will play out for you, but just be careful here during this time period. Of course, that's passing energy. It's going to pass pretty quickly. But it definitely could bring in the dynamic of friends and the people that we associate with and socialize with. Now, on April 19th, it's Taurus season. The sun leaves your second house of money and finances and enters the third house of correspondence, communication, our daily tasks and busyness. So it's really going to kind of bring a lot of that to the forefront. This is a house of planning as well, where we are planning for something for the future. Taurus is all about our goals, long-range plans for the future, and how we are going to make a strategy to execute and work towards them. So that is kind of what this is asking you to do right now. How can you take your creative talents and plan to execute them? How can you structure them? If you need a website, or you need to hire an assistant, or you need to really focus in on the details. This is a house that's very much associated with the details of things, So I'll let you guys figure that out, but this could also bring to focus topics relative to transportation, short trips for some of you, siblings, relatives, and maybe even things that are going on in your local community. It's a very social house. It's one of the more social houses in the entire chart. So it could be social time for you guys when you've had a lot of 12th house activation. This is going to be shifting that energy away from the 12th house a little bit, which is really nice. We have Mercury retrograde pre-shadow that's going to be setting itself up April 26th. It'll start at 26 degrees of Taurus and move its way into Gemini, and then it'll retrograde back into Taurus and move back into Gemini. So it's going to go back and forth, back and forth. Now, I don't want to go into this too much, but a retrograde is a time period that affects the mind, our mental faculties, our communication. It's all about planning and strategizing, but going back over things. We don't necessarily want to start new things, but we're not going to get into that now. But a lot of times the pre-shadow period before it stations retrograde will be setting up certain circumstances or maybe bring different thoughts to our mind of things that we are going to be working through for the retrograde period. So I want you to be very aware that some of these things from April 26th all the way to May 10th could become much more prominent come the second week of May. And this will specifically be in your house of communication, the details of what you're doing, as well as like I said, transportation, short trips, siblings. And this could very well be contracts because it is also affecting home-related matters. And we were talking about the maybe potential of doing something related to the home, purchases, whatever it might be earlier on in the month for some of you. This could also be related to family matters with siblings, with relatives, maybe even having the parent situation tied in some way, shape, or form. And this could very well be dealing with mental and emotional things with you as well. So there's a lot of mindset restructuring that's going on, and we'll talk about why more so in just a moment. But like I said, that's just a time period that you'll want to be aware of starting on April 26th. We'll talk more about the Mercury retrograde in next month's horoscope. Rounding out the month on April 29th, we've got Pluto stationing retrograde. Pluto has been in your 11th house of friends, groups, human rights pursuits, social justice activism, philanthropy, and also our goals for the future, our gains in life. And Pluto's really been restructuring this entire area of life. For a lot of you, it probably will be friend related as well. The people you associate and choose to have in your life. And I would say you're no stranger to this energy. There could have been a lot of endings and changes, right? New developments in this area, kind of reworking what you value, what you want in terms of friendship and groups and goals on a long-term level, and breaking down old structures and ways of operating. So Pluto is at the final 2 degrees of this sign takes about 14 to 30 years to move through one zodiac sign. It works with us on a very slow and subtle level in an area of life. And when we look back, we realize, holy crap, have I changed in that area? So this is in the friend department for you, okay? And goals department. Now it's at those final degrees. So if you have any planets or points between 26 and 28 degrees, especially of Capricorn, or really any of the cardinal signs for that matter, Capricorn, Cancer, Aries, Libra. For any of you that have your ascendant between 26 and 28 degrees of Pisces, this is going to be sextiling your ascendant. So if you're willing to work with Pluto from April 29th until October during its retrograde period on an internal level to purge and release what's no longer serving you, what's not in alignment with your truth, what needs to be eliminated, or transformed, you are going to be highly supported during this time. It's going to be really working with you on a personal level. You know, there's a lot of personality changes that are happening here because of your willingness to shed the old and step into the new. And then finally, rounding out the month on April 30th, we have a partial solar eclipse in the sign of Taurus. This is going to be activating once again the house of the mind, your mental processes, the way you communicate with other people. So I think that this is a huge reworking. We have to remember eclipses activate an axis, okay? So the ninth house or the third house where this is happening is the lower mind. It's the details. It's our, just intellect, mental processes, learning, all of those things. And the ninth house, which is also being activated with this dynamic, has a lot to do with higher learning and education, our broader, bigger picture, objective way of seeing things, our belief systems, right, about things, and long distance travel. So this is also a travel axis. Some of you are literally going to be traveling. Maybe some of you are literally going to be traveling to find a new place to live. Maybe you're traveling and you find a place that you really love to live in, or that you really love, so you want to live there. I'm just throwing different possibilities out there. But ultimately, what I like about this eclipse specifically is it's making a really nice aspect to the planets in your first house, and for some of you, your ascendant. So more specifically, if you have an ascendant between 5 and 15 degrees of Pisces, this will be having a much more intense and personal effect on you. With this eclipse being a solar eclipse with the north node, it indicates a new beginning, moving in a new direction of some sort, something opening up for us in the next 6 months, or very well could be something starting around this time of the eclipse, right? And a lot of this I love because it's reworking some of your mental patterning, some of your mindset, the way that you value yourself, your self-worth, your belief in your ability to achieve goals, to build wealth, and all of those types of things. Maybe some of you have some eating patterns, because Taurus is very much associated with food that needs to be worked through. Overindulgence, the way that your mind works with Uranus being involved here. Uranus is a change agent that can literally break us out of deeply held and ingrained ways of being, and that could be with the mind. So you could literally be having an awakening moment right now where you're starting to understand higher concepts about the world beyond politics, religion, spirituality. Your mind could be opening. You could be learning so many things right now. So this is really cool energy for you guys. I hope that this helped you. And if you like the video, please tap the like button below. It really helps the channel out tremendously when you do that. It helps YouTube to push this out to other people that might be able to benefit from it. And if you really enjoyed it, leave me a comment below. I love to hear from you guys. Tell me how it resonates and share any insights you might have as well. So also keep an eye out because I'm going to be breaking down some of the more important transits as the month progresses on my YouTube channel so that we can kind of follow some of this stuff as it unfolds in real time and how it applies to our life specifically. Thank you guys again, and I will see you next time. Peace and namaste.